With the Stanley Cup playoffs almost a week away, two playoff teams made an astonishing move and fired their head coaches. And we're going to start off with the first one, and that happened a week ago. That's the Vegas Golden Knights firing Bruce Cassidy, who were struggling, and brought in a very surprise choice, John Tortorella.
Torts is back in the league.
Yeah.
That's just crazy to say. But I don't know if the NHL is just copying some NBA stuff from last year because the Memphis Grizzlies did the same and along with the Denver Nuggets. But when you look at the Vegas Golden Knights and you compare it to the New York Islanders, I could understand this one more so than the New York Islanders one. The reason being is Vegas is supposed to be a top tier contender. They aren't playing like a top tier contender. The good thing for them is that they recently won the Pacific Division Showdown against the Edmonton Oilers. Otherwise, if they lost that game, they would have been swept in the season series as well. So, because of that, the division is still obviously within reach. They're 1 point behind Anaheim and Edmonton.
Yeah. Anaheim's on a losing streak themselves, so they screwed themselves over big time.
Yeah, but who knows? Maybe they need to fire their coach too. But the new coach bumps have been working because Vegas has been playing a little bit better with Tortorella behind the bench compared to Bruce Cassidy. So when you look at Vegas, they're a team that go mad, right? Like there's a method to their madness. The last time something big like this happened and it led to success was, I believe, in 2000. The New Jersey Devils fired their head coach. 8 games remaining in the season.
Yeah.
Brought in Lade Robinson, and they won the Stanley Cup. I guess another one you could say is the 2019 Blues.
But that was in season.
But that was obviously like more
like earlier in the year.
It's like it wasn't like as late, but like you kind of deem it late. I believe that was in January or something. I would say it's like a little bit late. Like how the Oilers, I believe, brought in All Black, where they felt like it was a little bit late, but at the end of the day, it still worked out. They made a cup final. The St. Louis Blues in 2019 got rid of Mike Yeo, brought in Craig Berube, and won the Stanley Cup. So it has worked in the past to an extent. Can it work for the Vegas Golden Knights this year? Potentially, but we all know that they do have the talent, but they gotta fix that goaltending because someone's gonna have to step up for them in net.
Yeah, so first things first, it almost worked with the Denver Nuggets last year. If it wasn't for an Aaron Gordon injury, they probably could have got to the final, in my opinion, and maybe could have beaten the Indiana Pacers. Obviously, different sport, but just wanted to throw that out there as well. But with Vegas, they're a disappointing team, right? Like for us, because we thought these guys should have probably ran away with this division, in my personal opinion, with a Mitch Marner addition. But it clearly has been proven that Alex Pietrangelo is heavily missed. Simple as that, right? Like he missed most of last year, I think, or did he miss last year as well?
Yeah, he was dealing with injuries last year as well.
So regardless of the thing, like he's pretty much semi-retired at this point. I know he said he's trying to make a comeback, but clearly he's been a valuable piece that they weren't able to replace properly during this year. Another thing is, like you said, goaltending. They brought in Carter Hart, regardless of the whole stuff that was going on behind the scenes with his situation with the Canada junior Canada hockey team thing. He hasn't necessarily panned out, was still injured and all that. But when you bring in a guy like John Tortorella, it's weird because like John Tortorella was recently fired by the Columbus Blue Jackets or Philadelphia Flyers, right? There is a certain point, there's a certain timeline for coaches like this, in my opinion, now when they come to it. And I think at this time, you maybe need a rah-rah guy who none other better than John Tortorella. People were concerned that it's gonna screw over Mitch Marner to a certain extent. But with Mitch Marner, he's pretty much pucked out, however you want to say it. Got a hat trick against Calgary. Obviously, like the first debut game was against the Canucks. That's an easy win. Obviously, a slow start to the period.
It ended up not being that easy.
But I'm saying it was a slow start, but then they took control later on. Calgary, same thing. They had to like go crazy in the third period to win that game overall because I watched that game at the end. But then Saturday night hockey night in Canada, they absolutely destroyed the Edmonton Oilers, who were on a hot streak themselves as well, trying to win that division. So bringing in a guy like John Tortorella, so far it has worked. Yes, 2 teams that are fighting for the lottery, 1 team that's going to be a team that you might be facing in the first round, depending on how Anaheim does. Can this work out is the question. And obviously, new coach bumps are a thing. Now, they might have a certain timeline to it. Obviously, the extreme one is like you said. Craig Berube won a Stanley Cup with the St. Louis Blues in 2019. You always have the Rick Bowness went like 24-3 or 23-4, but now they're teetering heavily right now.
But the big one is 2000 with Larry Robinson.
Yeah, exactly.
Taking over.
But the point
like a
is,
similar sort of timeline. I believe it was both 8 games left.
Yeah. So the point is, like, Bruce Cassidy does have that reputation. Like, he's a damn good head coach. He's gonna he's gonna get a job anyways.
Torch said himself.
Yeah, but his reputation is that he doesn't really get along with the players very well. Like that's what happened with Boston, I believe, before he went on to Vegas. He won the cup with Vegas, right? Yeah, he was the guy after. At the end of the day, whatever happened there. Whether we want to blame him, whether you want to blame the players, whether you want to blame goaltending as a whole, right? Because it hasn't worked out. There was a video recently of Aiden Hill trying to fist bump people. No one was fist bumping him back. I don't know if that's something happening behind the scenes in the culture or whatever the case might be. But long story short with these guys, listen, it's still strange that we got 2 head coaches fired at this point of the year because we only had 2 during the year, which was Dean Evison for Rick Bowness, Jim Hiller for DJ Smith, who's the interim right now. John Tortorella has signed a contract. He only signed the remaining of this year plus whatever the playoffs are going to be for them. So maybe this is an audition to be a long-term coach. Maybe he's just doing this for a temporary thing. We don't know what the case is. But overall, will this work out for the Golden Knights? There's a legit chance at the end of the day. Do I still put them behind one sec? Do I still put them behind Colorado? Yes. Do I put them behind Dallas? 100%. But after that, there is a legit argument that they could still get there.
You could even argue they're ahead of Dallas. And here's the reason why. The path.
Yeah.
The pathway. Fair. Literally. Honestly, like if you come into the season and we're like, okay, Vegas should dominate the Pacific Division, right? And if you're bringing that mindset in, not knowing what happened this season, you're like, okay, Vegas should easily make it to the Western Conference Finals. And I still believe that. Yeah. I still believe they're a much better team than Edmonton on paper. Still believe much better team than whoever they face in the first round, right? Whether it be Anaheim, San Jose, LA, or Utah even. Like I'd still back Vegas, even though Utah will be a much more tougher competition for them because the Pacific winner is very likely going to get Utah in the first round. So what I'm saying for Vegas is they have the talent, they have the experience as well to get the job done. So you could definitely see this be a possibility. And I just want to end it off here. For those of you who are soccer fans, I don't know if you're going to say there's a valid comparison or not. Does Tortorella give you Jose Mourinho vibes?
Yeah, a little bit.
Right, because like the one thing that Tortorella and Mourinho are gonna do, they're gonna command a room.
Yeah, but the difference is Torts won his cup in 2004. Mourinho has had success multiple times
later
with whatever
on,
previous club. But yeah, no, like with the Golden Knights, they have the Canucks, Kraken, Avalanche, Jets, and Kraken remaining. Outside of the Avalanche, I mean, the Jets are fighting for their playoff lives as well. They should have a good chance of winning the division regardless. Let's see what the other schedule is overall. But that's the Vegas Golden Knights thing. I did not expect this to come out of the blue because, again, in the NHL, we've never seen it before, but now we have.
But this one, you could, like, understand. The next one, I am confused. I'll be honest with you.
Okay, so the next one is Pete DeBoer is now officially in, permanent head coach, signed a massive extension for the New York Islanders, and out goes Patrick Waugh. Listen, I know. Again, this one was more of the Denver vibe. It was the later one out of the two because I think Taylor Jenkins got fired first, right? Here's the thing. Yes, I was surprised. I was shocked. I'm like, but the problem was similar. They were losing, right? They got to the point where they bought at the deadline for the most part, which we disagreed with. And the one guy I do follow on Twitter a lot is Mike Bartner. Mike Bartner, who works for Bleacher Report and has his own YouTube channel, is a big Islanders fan. And he said he was surprised it happened, but he said he understands it. He sees why it happened because at the end of the day, Patrick Waugh is the same vibe. Patrick Waugh is a fiery guy. He's a good head coach, but the players he has, the system he wants to play and all that, it wasn't the case. The Islanders we'll talk about a little bit more again in depth. Again, we talked about it before when they were actually on a high and we said like, okay, what are they going to do? And then they kind of messed up at the deadline, in my personal opinion, by extending J.G. Pajot, trading for Braden Shen and all that. Funny thing is, after the post-Braden Shen trade, St. Louis has been way better, and they're almost in. They could arguably get in as well, whereas these guys have been teetering. I think they're currently sitting just outside. No, they're in. And the thing with these guys, the difference between these guys and Ottawa is these guys still have a chance to get in as a third team in the Metro. Philly found their way in the third spot of the Metropolitan Division, which is crazy because they just came out of nowhere, and they're outside looking in by a point at the moment. So the point is, they believe they were not going to get Pete DeBoer and he was interested to join them at the end of the year? Maybe that was the case because at the end of the day, Edmonton's job potentially could have been available. Obviously, Toronto's might be available. Whatever the case they might be going on with that. So am I surprised? Yes, 100%. I'm not going to deny that. But do I understand the move? 100%, because Pete DeBoer is available. The only reason why he didn't go back to Vegas, is because he was in Vegas already.
Look, I'm gonna say that I said this about NBA last year.
Yeah.
I could understand a coaching change, whatever, right? At the end of the day, shit changes. Sometimes you gotta move on. Sometimes the person himself is gonna move on, right? I do understand bringing in DeBoer for Patrick Roy if it was in the offseason. The reason why I'm confused is, one, obviously because of the timing, and that caught everyone by surprise. It will confuse a lot of people just because of when it's happening.
And plus, we don't celebrate it, but like Easter, on an Easter Sunday as well.
Yeah. I get your point of the trade deadline and they started making buying moves, so they're looking at kind of going all in this season, which again doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
But it's just the way that I view this team, or I am viewing this team, is that they're a team that is over exceeded this season. Can you agree with that or not?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
A lot of that to do was with Sorokin and Schaefer, for
Obviously,
sure.
yeah, 100%. So, in my opinion, when I first saw this one, I was like, okay, did Patrick Roy do something to get fired? Right? Like in terms of outside drama, you know.
There was a picture where the players kind of seemed like they're tuned out in a timeout or whatever the case might be.
Yeah, okay, I was talking about like legal reasons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like literal like law stuff. So I understand it. Like I fully back DeBoer being a better head coach than Patrick Roy. I do agree with that. The one thing I just don't get is, again, now. Why now?
Because if other jobs are opened after a playoff loss, for example, from the Oilers, let's say it was a first round exit and they want to move up Knoblauch, DeBoer might be willing to take that job, right? So like,
again,
for me,
that's that.
If you're already thinking of firing a coach, you're pretty much have fired them. That's the best way I'm gonna put it.
Like, that's where I get confused. That's where I'm like looking at it differently. That's where I was confused last year as well, when Memphis and Denver did it. But
by the way, we have a basketball channel, so that's why we're making a lot of references to that. You guys should check that as well. Beyond the basket. Yeah.
Linked in the description. But the reason why we're bringing that up, because it literally happened last year. Like the same stuff that happened in the NHL this year happened for the NBA last year.
Yeah.
Right? Similar situations. Again, I brought up the similar points to last year, and I'm bringing them back this year in terms of it just look, I get the new coach, but I just don't understand that. How are you going to change your play style in literally less than around 5 games left just to prep you for a potential playoff run?
This is it. Okay.
That's where I get where I get uneasy about this.
I'm going to fix the confusion. I do not think this is strictly a year move for this.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. But at the end of the day, like, the Islanders made winning moves.
Try to win moves.
But like at the end of the day, they acted like they were gonna win this year.
Yeah.
Right? That's how they acted. How is that gonna be possible when you have a 5-game, literally 5 to 6 game preview or a, I guess, training camp preseason for a potential playoff run, and they're not even guaranteed in. Right? At the end of the day, Vegas, we're like, we lock them in.
Vegas is in.
Yeah, like Vegas is set. Vegas is also the contender. They have the talent.
Be a contender, yeah.
Right. Islanders, you're like looking at it at the end of the day, like as much as they exceeded this year, you're looking at a first round exit for the New York Islanders. This is the reason why I'm confused. I get it that DeBoer is better. DeBoer might not be available in the offseason and all that stuff, so they pounce on it now. Fair. But I also feel like there could be other candidates as well.
I think here's my thing. I think he's the best candidate available regardless.
Regardless of whoever gets fired.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, you see John Cooper, Ben Norton, the top coaches of them get fired? No. I don't think any of the other playoff teams are really fine if they got Knoblauch. Sure, maybe. I think DeBoer is still the better guy because you know.
Okay, so I want to ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you feel like this is more just we need to get rid of Patrick Roy, or we need to bring in Pete DeBoer?
Both.
But what would you lean towards?
Bring in Pete DeBoer.
Okay. So in that sense, obviously, then you could see why it happened.
Yeah. So here's my thing with this game. The question mark isn't why they brought in Pete DeBoer. I agree with it. If you again, this is more of a long term thing. This guy already signed a 4-year on top of that 4-year extension with it. This is not like a tort situation. This is not a. I think Rick Bowness didn't technically sign on post this year as well, and we know the LA situation is an interim job as well. I was penciling this guy in for LA, Pete DeBoer, for the most part. Pete DeBoer, at the end of the day, it's a long-term thing. Now the question is you have to have is for Matthew Darche. Why did Matthew Darche, the GM, make the moves that he made? Right?
I mean, it's a weird theory, but it's obviously it's not going to make sense. 2000, the manager of the New Jersey Devils, Lou Lamoriello.
Yeah.
Matthew Darche is the successor of Lou Lamoriello.
Exactly. So Lou Lamoriello has been part of this. Lou Lamoriello is actually part of the advisory group in general. He's still part of the organization, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, because I was listening to the radio this morning and they slightly mentioned that. I do not hate it for them especially. It's Vegas. Okay, that one I'm like whatever.
Yeah, that's the one thing I'm gonna make clear. I don't hate it.
Yeah.
I do understand it, but things like this just spin my head around.
But at the end of the day,
and I feel like that's fair because I feel like things like this should spin people's head around.
Obviously, people talk about new coach bump and whatever, like how legit it is, how not legit it is, whatever the case might be. That might be part of this. I get that. But the reason why I don't hate this, and I know you don't hate it either because you just made it clear, you clarified that, is at the end of the day, you want your guy, he's there, you go get him. Simple as that, right? You want to move up Patrick Waugh, you pretty much have decided that you wanted to fire him regardless of the situation. So why just wait? Just get it done now. You have a chance to get to the playoffs at the end of the day. And if you do get in, we'll see what he does. We know what Pete DeBoer is. The only problem with Pete DeBoer is he can't get to the big game outside of the 1 year in San Jose where he got to the final and ultimately lost to the Pittsburgh Penguins. His only reputation that hurts him is he cannot get to the final. Now, the one question I do have with this is Pete DeBoer coached San Jose, solid team. Right, like led by Joe Thornton, Marlowe. Obviously, you had like I think Timo Meier ended up joining that winning team. I'm not 100% sure.
San Jose?
Yeah, was he on that team before he left?
I don't remember.
Okay, but either way, like Thomas Hertl was there. You obviously have Brent Burns, who was still solid for them, and all that stuff, right? Then he went on to Vegas, solid team there. Then he went on to Dallas, his team filled with stars, superstars, everything like that. Here, outside of Schaefer, who's really that superstar? I love Bo Horvat. You know that. On a championship winning team, he's a 2C. Right? He's having a great year this year. Deservedly so made Team Canada. Performed well there as well, in my opinion. The question is, what stars does he have around him? Obviously, he has Matthew Schaefer with him. Obviously, he has Ilya Sorokin with him. He does have a reputation of being shit on his goalies. We saw the Fleury situation. We obviously saw the Ottinger situation from last year. So that's a thing of concern for Sorokin if you want to worry about. But we know the style he plays. He has a structure. He plays fast. He can get the job done to a certain degree. And that's what the case is here. The only question mark I have with him is can he do it with guys that he needs to develop a little bit more? Schaefer is a bona fide superstar. We agree with that. From the forward side of things, who is that bona fide superstar? My question mark, once again, comes to Matthew Darche. Why did you have to make those type of moves at the deadline? Why, right? You could have moved off of some of these guys. You had some injuries and all that. Could they have just made the playoffs via how Nashville might make the playoffs after trading some pieces, or how St. Louis might make the playoffs after trading some pieces, or try to trade some pieces? That's a different story. But you went out and got Robert Thomas. So my only concern now for Braden Shen. My only concern for the Islanders now in the future is because clearly they're not taking a step back. They're going to go forward because they got this guy for 4 years. The ultimate question comes now is what type of moves are you going to make? Are you going to do the classic New York Islanders thing? I don't know how much ownership is involved in this situation. Are you going to try to make middling moves just to get over the hump? Because Florida's going to be back next year. And they're going to be easily my number one team if they are fully healthy heading into the season. And I don't think you disagree with that.
No.
Tampa Bay is going to still be solid. Carolina, at the end of the day, let's see what they do this playoffs. They're still going to be a solid team. Who knows what's going to happen with Montreal taking another step forward, Ottawa, whatever the case might be. So overall, to wrap it all up from this part of things, I understand the move. I don't hate the move. I actually like the move. You go and get your guy before someone else scoops him up from you. Do all that. The question mark ultimately comes down to is Matthew Darche, what type of team are you going to build? That's what it comes down to. You got your coach. You're the first year GM. You got your coach. Can you build a team around him that is able to contend for multiple years to come down the road?
Yeah, so overall, that's Islanders firing Raw, bringing in DeBoer, Vegas firing Cassidy, bringing in Tortorella. You guys comment down below which one you think is the better move, which one confused you more, which one you like or you don't like. But there have also been some more firings.
Yeah.
This is more in the front office. general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Brad Treliving,
No longer.
is not a general manager anymore.
Yeah, so first one, Brad Treliving also happened, I think, right after the Tortorella one, a day after that one. Listen, this one was pretty much coming. They just wanted to get it done and over with, right? Because we're hearing rumors about the Canucks, what's happening with that situation. Stay tuned for a special Canucks video that'll be coming out shortly, soon, this week, next week. Hit that post notification bell and subscribe button. You guys do not want to miss that, because we're not going to go too much details into the Toronto one, because we're planning on doing a similar vibe for Toronto. At the end of the day, it needs to be done. The one thing I do like what he said was he acknowledged that he messed everything. He messed up the roster and all that stuff. But it was again confusing why you bring in Brad Treliving. He put a big mess in Calgary. Now he has a big mess in Toronto. You traded a first. Now that's top 5 protected now, so you have to hope that's out of the. You have to be a top 5 pick, and Fraser Minton for Brandon Carlo? You serious? You not addressing the core for it properly? So the other question mark I have was with Keith Pelly, who's running behind the scenes right now for them. He wants an analytics guy, whatever the case might be. He's saying it's a retool. Where have we heard this before?
Vancouver.
Exactly. So,
I will give him one caveat. I mean, technically the Canucks, I would say Toronto has more pieces in play. Foundationally, I guess, with Nylander, Matthews. Like at the end of the day, like, what do you mean and? They're good players.
Defense is nothing.
Okay.
Goaltending,
I'm talking about pieces. Canucks only had Quinn Hughes and that's it.
I'm going to counter that point right now. Matthews has not been at the same level as he was like Quinn Hughes was, number one. Fair. And Nylander's 30, soon to be, or is already 30.
I know. Okay, I'm just saying this. They are saying this so Nylander doesn't leave.
Yeah.
That's why he's saying it.
Ultimately, it comes down to if Matthews wants out or not.
Simple as that's also a big factor as well. I would say like I understand why he's saying it just because of that reason. Because at the end of the day, they do have Matthews, Nyes, Nylander.
They try to stop Nyes as well. There's a big rumor about
which is honestly pretty stupid.
What's their foundation then?
I'm just saying, comparing to the Vancouver Canucks, they have a better foundation. So I'm just saying
2-1,
3-1. I'm still considering that. Like I'm still putting Nyes into things.
Okay.
I'm just comparing to the Canucks. I'm not saying it's for general successful rebuilds.
Yeah.
No.
They're still in the middle.
They should tear it apart. But I'm just saying at the end of the day, they're going to have to do what the Canucks didn't, which is admit that they need to rebuild. Because that's why
I think they're going to get...
The Canucks didn't admit they need to rebuild for the last 10 years, and that's why they're in this situation now.
Yeah. So
same thing as goes.
That's the Toronto thing. Rumor is former Canuck GM might be the guy, Mike Gillis, whether it be as a GM, whether it be as a president. We'll see what ends up happening, which scares me because if Berube is gone, which it seems like he will be, Manny Malhotra might head over there because he obviously left Vancouver once in the past for Toronto's assistant coach job. So there's that situation. But again, we're going to go deep down with Toronto a little bit because they are a big mess, if not almost the same as what Vancouver was heading into this year. But the next firing that happened actually as of today's recording, which is April 6th. Tom Fitzgerald is officially out as the GM, and I think he was also president of the New Jersey Devils. And the New Jersey Devils have been one of the more disappointing teams as well. Obviously, New York Rangers are on that list. The Canucks are on that list. The Maple Leafs are now on that list, right? I would put the Devils on that list as well. The difference
Disappointing? Disappointing?
Disappointing. The
Rangers? Did you say Rangers?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
The difference between the Devils and the other 3 teams I said, at least they have a proper foundation in place. They have proper young pieces to go around with Heischer. Obviously, like relatively young players in the prime. Jack Hughes, Heischer. Obviously, Luke Hughes needs to be better. You have Simone Nemec you're trying to figure out. I don't know why they're trying to trade him. But the moves that he made, giving every player no move clauses was all making hard to move. Not getting in Quinn Hughes, which put you in the bad books immediately of everybody. Not giving you overpaid Luke Hughes, but at the end of the day, you probably have to get that done because you have Jack Hughes on your team as well. The Jacob Markstrom trade looks horrible. As much as I loved it at the first time, you probably wanted the young guys you sent to Calgary on your team instead of what Jacob Markstrom has produced for you so far. And as a team overall, Sheldon Keefe hasn't done a great job. His job is in jeopardy as well. Sheldon Keefe. So overall, whatever happened, this team it's going to be fun to see the offseason what they do. Maybe they just need a new GM and you'll just figure out the moves from there and go on from there. Because Quinn Hughes is still in play because he hasn't committed to Minnesota yet.
One thing I'm going to say about Fitzgerald and compared to Brad Treliving is that Treliving just came in messing things up.
Yeah.
Fitzgerald at least built something, right? you got to get a little bit of luck. You got Jack Hughes, obviously.
Nico Hischier.
Yeah, Nico Hischier, obviously another former first overall pick. You made the aggressive moves of getting in Dougie Hamilton, who at the time was really good defenseman, and Timo Meier as well. So like, and that year they beat the Rangers. It felt like, I think they were. I'm pretty sure I made a prediction of that this team could make the Stanley Cup final the following year because they're a young
I think
team.
I was with you.
You were with me, right? I think them and the Dallas Stars were like the two teams that were high on.
I think we had the same one that year.
This was like 3 years ago now.
Yeah, when we first started it.
Right.
Yeah.
One thing about him is that he built something, and like you would back him to get a job more quickly than
Nashville's in play, right?
Right,
They're
like,
moving off of Barry Trotz.
Yeah, so you back him to get a job more quickly than Tree Living because Fitzgerald.
Yeah, I think Tree Living is done. If Tree Living gets a job, I'm gonna be shocked.
Exactly. Him with Fitzgerald, I was gonna say like, yeah, he did make some moves recently where it wasn't a hit, which kind of obviously led to his end of his tenure. But he was also unfortunate because the moves that he had made, the good moves he had made, kept on getting injured.
Yeah.
Someone was stabbing himself with a knife. Like, what the hell is he supposed to do about that, right? Like he doesn't know Jack Hughes isn't get freaking.
But at the end of the day, your job was to get this team better, and Quinn Hughes is sitting on your lap.
Okay, yeah, that, like I said, the moves that he made, I'm just trying to say that this guy has at some point was doing a decent job. That's what I'm trying to say here, compared to the Brad Tree Living and other GMs as well. But Fitzgerald, I think, I won't say hot commodity, but I believe should be getting a job soon. Hopefully he has some luck on this side, and maybe if he has a chance of getting Quinn Hughes, he'd be more aggressive next time.
Yeah, so that pretty much wraps it up for us. I think those were some of the big firings that happened. Obviously, we'll look a lot at some of these teams as the offseason is approaching. Even during the playoffs, we'll talk about some of these teams as well that are sitting at home waiting, because we're almost here at playoff time, which means our playoff preview predictions video will be coming out next week. So you guys do not want to miss that as well. So hit that post notification bell. We got some banger videos planned for you guys. On top of the screen right now, we had a banger video talking about the Ottawa Senators with our good buddy Alex Adams from Sportsnet and the Send Spotlight podcast on the Sick Network. So make sure you guys check out that video as well. Go follow Alex and comment down below your thoughts about the coaches that have been fired and coaches that have been hired. Other than that, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.